a Honda underbone motorcycle with a 4-stroke single-cylinder engine with a displacement range of 49 to 124 cc's is known as the Honda Super Cub or Honda Cub. The Super Cub has been produced continuously since 1958, with output reaching 60 million units in 2008, 87 million units in 2014, and 100 million units in 2017. Variants include the C100, C50, C70, C90, C100X, and C70 Passport, as well as the Honda Trail series. Honda's U.S. advertising campaign for the Super Cub, "You Meet the Nicest People on a Honda," had a profound effect on American perceptions toward motorcycling and is sometimes referenced as a case study in marketing. When Soichiro Honda and Takeo Fujisawa of Honda Motor traveled to Germany and observed the appeal of mopeds and lightweight motorbikes, they had the idea for a new 50 cubic centimeter motorcycle. Soichiro Honda was primarily in charge of the organization's engineering and production, always with an eye toward success on the racetrack, whereas his close partner Fujisawa was the man of finance and business, in charge of sales and developing strategies aimed at completely destroying Honda Motor's rivals. Unlike other Japanese businesses, Fujisawa had been considering a long-term expansion strategy and did not just want to increase production to take advantage of the recent economic boom in Japan. He had a compact, high-performance motorcycle as his main vehicle. In post-World War II Europe, upwardly mobile buyers often upgraded from a bicycle to a clip-on engine before purchasing a scooter, bubble car, small car, and so on. For the typical individual, a motorcycle did not fit into this pattern, and Fujisawa saw a chance to change that. At the time, Soichiro Honda was sick of listening to Fujisawa discuss his revolutionary motorbike concept. He had come to Europe to win the Isle of Man TT event and wanted to focus on that and nothing else. Among other places, Kreidler and Lambretta showrooms were visited by Fujisawa and Honda as they looked into the motorcycle Fujisawa was considering. His idea was a two-wheeler for everyone, one that would appeal to both established and emerging countries, urban and rural, saying that these designs had no future, and would not sell well. The new motorcycle has to be technologically basic to survive in areas without access to modern knowledge, sophisticated tools, or trustworthy spare parts sources. It would be necessary to solve the frequent user complaints of noise, poor reliability, particularly with regard to the electrics, and overall difficulties of use. Honda needed a mass appeal product that could be produced on a massive scale because it was a large company that was only getting bigger. The design had to be worked out before production started because it would be too expensive to fix issues in the huge numbers that were going to be manufactured. The scooter style came very close to meeting the requirements, but it was too difficult to maintain in developing nations, and the small wheels performed poorly on poorly maintained or non-existent roads. Fujisawa told Honda, "If you can design a small motorcycle, say 50 cc's with a cover to hide the engine and hoses and wires inside, I can sell it. I don't know how many soba noodle shops there are in Japan, but I bet you that every shop will want one for deliveries." Another of Fujisawa's requirements was that it could be operated with one hand while carrying a tray of soba noodles. When Soichiro Honda became interested, he started working on the Super Cub after returning to Japan. The following year, Honda showed Fujisawa a mock-up that, at long last, resembled what he had in mind. Fujisawa predicted that annual sales would be 30,000 per month, or half as many as the monthly market for two-wheelers in Japan. His objective was to export motorcycles on a scale that had never been attempted during the post-war economic chaos in Japan, when most businesses stopped their trade attempts through foreign trading firms. In order to provide the essential service and spare parts distribution in a big country like the US, Honda would have to create its own overseas company. In order to do this, American Honda Motor Company was established in 1959. In 1961, a sales network was built in Germany, followed by those in Belgium and the United Kingdom in 1962 and France in 1964. Despite the Honda Juno's production ceasing in 1954 due to Honda Motor's labor and financial difficulties, Fujisawa persisted in promoting research into polyester resin casting techniques, and his efforts paid off for the Super Cub. The Honda Juno had been the first scooter to use polyester resin, or fiberglass reinforced plastic bodywork. The most popular plastic, polyethylene, would be used for the new motorcycle's fairing, which would make it lighter than FRP. However, Honda had to supply the die because Honda's supplier had never created a die cast this size before. Motorcycle historian Clement Salvadori stated that the Super Cub's plastic front fender and leg shields were probably the Cub's greatest achievement. Plastic handled the job just as well as metal at a significantly lesser cost. A 50cc's 4-stroke Honda engine could produce 3.4 kilowatts, 4.5 horsepower, whereas the first engine the company built a decade earlier, a fairly exact copy of the 50cc's 2-stroke war surplus Tohatsu engine Honda had been selling as motorized bicycle auxiliary engine, had only a 0.37 to 0.75 kilowatts, 0.5 to 1 horsepower, output. The technology developed in the Isle of Man TT racing program Honda's first 4-stroke, the 1951 E-Type, had nearly triple the displacement, 146 cc's, and just slightly more power than the Super Cub, 3.7 kilowatts, 5 bhp. Honda invested $10 billion in a new plant in Suzuka, ME to produce the new motorcycle. The building was designed after the Volkswagen Beetle assembly line in Wolfsburg, Germany, and can produce 30,000 Super Cubs every month with 2 shifts. When Edward Turner of BSA visited Japan to see the motorcycle industry in September 1960, he said that investments the size of the Suzuka plant were extremely dangerous, because the U.S. motorcycle market was already saturated. Up until that point, Honda's top models had sold only 2,000 to 3,000 units per month. The Suzuka factory was the biggest motorcycle factory in the world when it was finished in 1960, and it served as a model for Honda's later mass production plants. When Suzuka could operate at full capacity, the economies of scale attained there reduced the cost of producing each Super Cub by 18%. However, when the new facility began operations before the wholesales and distribution network was in place, Honda immediately had issues with excess inventory. The iconic Volkswagen Beetle and Ford Model T are contrasted with the Honda Super Cub in terms of their impact on motorized transportation. With more than 100 million units sold in Asia, Africa, and South America, the Super Cub, which debuted in 1958, is the motorcycle with the largest global sales. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you on our next video.